So for my project, I decided to do gender inequality at home and at work by Evan Garcia. And so my project topic, I will be discussing gender inequality at home and work. I knew I wanted to explore deeper about this subject because it is very interesting to me on how gender roles have changed over the years and the impact it has had on society. So first, I wanted to do like a little background slide. And I said gender inequality has been going on for many generations. It takes back to about 8,000 years ago, where economic structures had placed men in positions of power and women in subordinate roles. As time enhanced, social, legal, and religious systems reinforced gender roles, with men controlling politics, business, and education, while the women were confined to domestic and caregiving roles. Throughout time, there has been a constant cycle of limited opportunities for women, but things started to change during the late 1800s and early 1900s. Women's rights started to be taken more seriously, and amendments started to be signed. First off, I'm going to be talking about family life in the 1950s. During this time, American families were typically made up of a breadwinner husband, a homemaker wife, which was not employed, and their children. The father figures usually worked outside the home, and the mothers managed the house and raised the children. In the chapter, The Family in Sociological Theory, a person was asked why he thinks this particular system works so well. He responded by saying it brought basic stability and cooperation. He began to explain how each one performed a separate, necessary function that kept a happy, healthy lifestyle. Although it may not have seemed like women didn't like this lifestyle, many began to question and resist being confined solely to domestic tasks. Over time, feminist theory began to take into account. Women began to understand and address the unfair treatment they were receiving and the way society was shaping them. Many believe they were more than just staying at home cleaning with no career. Many started to incorporate various perspectives such as liberal feminism, radical feminism, intersectional feminism, and post-colonial feminism. In the 1970s, feminist researchers found that gender inequality is central to family life. They explained how children's understanding of gender roles is shaped through parental behaviors. For instance, if children grew up in a home where both parents worked and shared the amount of daily household tasks, they would embrace the same traditions when they have a family of their own in the future, rather than if they grew up with only the father working and the mother staying at home. As social norms began to change, gender inequality has tremendously improved. It has improved in areas such as education, attainment, and the workforce participation. It has been found that only 20% of women worked in the 1900s to now around 57% of women in the workforce today, and 80% of men working in the 1900s to now 69% in present day. Although the inequality has gone better, the gap still persists in leadership roles and pay equality. Also, these numbers aren't always the same compared to some religions. Race and ethnicity significantly influence gender norms, as societal expectations around gender are often shaped by cultural backgrounds and historical context. It seems that no matter how much time has passed, gender inequality will always take a toll on society. I personally have experienced growing up in a non-traditional household. When I was at the age of 6 years old, my father left, so my mom was left taking care of my two brothers and I, taking the role as both mom and dad. Every day she would get my siblings and I up and ready for school, including making breakfast, ensure all of our homework was packed and completed. She then would proceed to take us to school and work all day until she had to pick us up and do it all over again. Since there was no longer a man in the house, I always wondered who was going to fix the little knickknacks that were broken or even mow the lawn. But I grew up watching my mom take care of it all. If there was a leak in the house, she would call and look up ways to fix it. If our lock on the front door is broken, she wouldn't waste a second to go to Home Depot and find a new one. She showed me that there isn't anything a woman can't do. Not only did my mom break the traditional gender norms, but my grandma did as well. She not only took care of my mom and uncle all by herself, but became a very successful businesswoman in the real estate business. This takes back to how gender roles are shaped through parental behaviors. Since I grew up seeing how women can do just as much as a man, it makes me want to be more than just a stay-at-home mom and make big changes throughout the world. Then I wanted to interview some of my family members about their views on gender inequality and how / if it has changed since they were my age or just younger at all. And my mom's response was, I was born in 1975, so when I was a child, women were just starting to enter the workforce. My mother was a single mom, so she was the main provider in our home. Not only did she work one job, but she had 3 to make ends meet to take care of her family. She didn't have a choice, so it was always normal to see a mother working outside the house. And then my grandma's response was, I never had a problem with inequality. There were more women that had to be in the workforce since World War II, so by the time I was in the workforce in the early 70s, the issue was getting the same pay as men for doing the same work. I never felt slighted or abused or not equal. You can look for the bad or you can embrace the good and keep moving and work hard. And then next is just my works cited, and yep.